Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning I bid to everyone who's watching this video. So this video is about my alternative assessment, which I had to prepare a high fidelity mockup for my requirement engineering and software modeling course. And for this project, I would only be doing one use case, which is update inquiry. So let's let's have a little overview about my project. So, our client, MindCare Systems Engineering Berhad, had requested for us to develop a software to help digitalize their system. The software product is MindCare Automated Reply System, which is an automated reply system. The automated reply system uses AI technology to answer customers' frequently asked questions. The aim of the system is to introduce a smooth experience to the customer by offering a fast and reliable replying experience. On the administrative side, the system will facilitate the job of the therapist because he or she will not be responsible for replying to the customer most of the time. Thus, the automation of the system will ensure that customers will always get a reply and ensure a good user experience for the customer. So moving on, these are my user interface flow. So we can see there's a chat box here, and then we have pages from the MindCare. For now, we'll just have a look at these user interfaces. We will come back later. Uh, we will come back later to for our prototype demo. Scanning around. Okay, so before we can go into our demo, we have to understand our use case first. So to understand our use case, we have to look at the use case diagram. So this is our system's use case diagram. We have three modules: automated reply FAQ module, automated reply inquiry module, and management module. My use case, UC006, falls under the automated reply inquiry module. Okay, so now we have an idea of our use case, but we need more details. So we have to go into the use case specification. So for this use case, update the inquiries category, we can see that our actor is the admin, and then we don't have preconditions, and the normal flow is that the admin will receive a new inquiry that has been answered by the therapist, and then the admin will add or update the new inquiry to its specified category. The changes are saved by the system, and then the use case ends. But what if it was put into the wrong category? The admin will have to identify the inquiry that he has put into the wrong category, and then remove the inquiry from the wrong category, and then add it back to its rightful category. And then normal flow tree, which is the system changes, the system save the changes is executed. But then again, what if we don't have any new inquiry? Because most of the time we won't really have any new inquiries. The system will not be updated. That's all. It means that there's nothing to change. There's no change. And then the post condition is that the inquiry category is updated. It's up to date. And then we have a few other requirements. For example, we have functional requirements. The requirements we have to meet for it to be functional, such as the system must be able to receive new data, the system must be able to add new data to the categories, the system must be able to save new data, and the system must be able to remove the new data. All of this, all of this functional requirements are needed to so we can execute the normal flow and then end the alternative flow. And then we also have quality requirement. The system shall be able to display error messages when the system fails to display content. So, so if there is any error in the system, there must be a fail-safe message so that the users know, oh, there's an error in the system, or they would be left in the gray. They will be like, if there's no error message, they will be confused. Did they do something wrong? Is there something wrong with the system? It causes confusion among the users. Hence, it will leave a bad user experience for them. And then we have other quality requirements such as the system shall be able to display error when the system fails to save data or inquiry. Sometimes the system has bugs that doesn't allow the admin to save the changes. So we have to the system has to display a message that shows that the system cannot save the data or inquiry so that the admin can take note, or he or she will think that the data has been saved when it has not been saved. And the last one is the system shall be able to display messages showing that the inquiry is saved into the system. Basically, the vice versa of the previous one. And if the changes are saved, the system should tell the admin that the data is saved. So, um, further on, we have to look at the activity diagram for the use case. It's pretty simple. From the start, we receive a new inquiry, we update the category, and then we save changes. Simple as that. And now we move on to the self-reflection part of this video. In this class, I have learned a lot regarding about how projects are planned and documented. So, as we all know, in the industry, um, other than doing the actual work, documentation is also really, really important because to for the management and for the outside people, they won't really oversee what has been done during this project whatsoever. What they can do is that they read the documentations and whatsoever. So we can see how clearly important documentation is in the industry, be it any industry, and actually. So it's important for us to prepare our documentation as presentable and as easy for them to digest as possible. So the theories that I have learned in this class were used throughout this project and alternative assessment. So it really helped me strengthen my grip on these topics. For instances, I learned about the system and system context, which we applied when we did the use case diagram. And then we have requirement elicitation. We use requirement elicitation for to gather the requirements for our use case specification, and then we also use requirements documentation, basically the whole document. All three topics were used in various phases of the project. For example, the system and system contacts were used during our proposal. Our requirement elicitation were used in our proposal, and our second phase requirement documentation were used throughout the project for all phases. So without learning them, I wouldn't have been able to proceed with the projects because we would fall short every time. For example, if we didn't do requirement elicitation, we would have not completed our functional requirements, our quality requirements, and that would have left us with a lot of questions regarding the functionality and the quality part of the project, which would have halted our progress. So right now, add a new inquiry. So here in the chat box, we receive a new inquiry from the therapist. The therapist asks us to add the inquiry to others. The question is, what happens during therapy? So we say sure, and then we are adding the question, what happens during therapy, to psychoanalysis, and then after the inquiry is added successfully, we will view the categories and then view psychoanalysis. So this is the inquiry categories page, and then we selected psychoanalysis, the one in purple, and then they display the inquiries in psychoanalysis together with the answers. You can see here, and then we just remembered our therapist said we have to put it in others, not in psychoanalysis. So we have to remove the inquiry first from psychoanalysis to avoid any confusion. So here we remove what happens during therapy from psychoanalysis. And then the system updates us. It says it is removed from psychoanalysis. This is an example of quality requirement. And then we will view the categories and then view psychoanalysis. We can see that the question what happens during therapy is removed from psychoanalysis, and then to update it back, we add the question back to others, and then we view others. And here we can see that in the others category, what happens during therapy is added there. And one last thing that the admin can do is that they can view the inquiry category. So to view the inquiry category, we have to go to the inquiry page, and then we have to select one of the categories that are displayed there. So the category that we chose will be shown in purple. For example, if we choose psychoanalysis, they will display the frequently asked questions in psychoanalysis. Uh, One of them is, what is the difference between psychoanalysis and other forms of therapy? And then here we can see that there's an answer given. The answer is quite long, so we will skip over it. And then the next question is, what is child psychoanalysis? Psychoanalysis is a form of psychotherapy conducted 4 or 5 times a week, appointments between 40 to 50 minutes. The goal is the restoration of healthy progressive development so youngsters can achieve their full potential. This approach is not a quick fix. It takes time, but it will slowly help towards a better future for them. And we can also view other categories, such as others. And then here we can see the inquiries in the others category. For example, how do I know if I need counseling or psychotherapy? Then there is an answer. And then the question that we just added, what happens during therapy? That's all. There are also an answer for that. There's also an answer for that. So we will jump right into the conclusion. All in all, to integrate my points, I would like to express my gratitude towards my teammates Mohanala, Teresa, and Shu Yuan for cooperating and helping each other out during the 3 phases of this project before our individual alternative assessment. I would also like to thank Dr. Johanna, my lecturer, for requirement engineering software modeling, and she guided my teammates and I throughout the project. In the future, I would like to be given the opportunity to further develop this project into a well-functioning system that can be used for the benefit of society. And I believe that's all from me. Thank you.